Good morning, and welcome to the launch of Strategic Brilliance Lab. Today isn't about another AI tool. It's about how leaders make decisions when the pressure is real, the stakes are high, and the future refuses to wait. Dr. Tanya Lowe is a globally recognized leadership strategist, professional development expert, and trusted advisor to organizations across corporate, government, nonprofit, and higher education sectors. She doesn't just conduct training. She creates experiences that sharpen thinking, build confidence, and strengthen decision-making when it matters most. Today, Dr. Lowe invites you into Strategic Brilliance Lab, not as a typical AI tool, but as a new way of building strategic capacity, decision intelligence, and workforce readiness at scale. What that truly means and why it matters now is the conversation she's here to lead. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Tanya Lowe.
Hello, 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 everybody. Thank you for joining the live stream. Thank you for joining me for this launch. I'm very excited about it. I am very excited to share it with you. This is not just another AI tool. As a matter of fact, we are not calling it a tool. We are calling it AI powered solution to help you, your teams, your students, your staff with critical thinking. And so I just want to say thank you for being here today. Thank you for being a part of where we're going with technology and how we want to be the solution to help organizations with their professional development in upskilling and reskilling their ployees. For the past 5 years, during the pandemic, I started following the World Economic Forum, and just like many of you have seen the upcoming changes for the world of work. Work is different now. It's not when I started eons ago, years ago, right? Work is different now. It looks different. People show up different. But there's one thing about the world of work that has not changed, and the thing that AI cannot change, and that's how we strategically think, critically think, and how we analyze data. And so that's what I want to share with you today. So before we jump into the launch, which the demo of Strategic Brilliance Lab, which I'm so excited about, I want to share some data with you. I want to share why this is important, because it is important. When I first started reviewing the World of Work reports and the Future of Work reports, everything said you need to start upskilling and reskilling by 2025. Well, it's 2026 now. And the reports are saying by 2030, we're going to feel some significant shifts in the workplace. And I'm going to share a little bit of that with you, because that's going to come back to why we're doing this. This Strategic Brilliance Lab is a addition to the Strategic Brilliance course that I taught 2 years ago. And if any of you participated in that course, some of you might have participated in the 1 day course when we were piloting it, and some of you might have participated in the 2 day course. But if you did, put a 1 in the chat. Now, I want you to know that I can't see the chat right now, but when we're done, I'll go back through and I'll answer your questions and everything. But if you participated in that, I want to know, did you follow through on what you learned? The feedback was amazing, but I'm always curious about how people use the knowledge that they obtain from any of our trainings. We have left the knowledge era. It doesn't matter how much you know, how much you're going to keep. I'm not sharing anything with you. None of that matters anymore. What matters is, how do you innovate with the knowledge that you have? How do you innovate with the information that you have? Because we can get information just like that. But the thing about the information that we can get just like that is, how accurate is it? So before I get on my soapbox, let me pull up these slides to show you so we can jump right into the demo and get you guys touching and feeling the 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 solution. So let's see. Here we go. Share my screen. Dun, dun, dun. Share it over here. Now I'm probably gonna go away. You probably won't see me. Yes, yes. You probably won't see me. So if you can, I'm gonna pop over here and see if I in the chat to make sure that you all can see me. If you can see my screen, give me a thumbs up, please, in the YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, give me a thumbs up and let me know that you can see the screen. If you're watching on LinkedIn, put something in the chat so I know that you can see what's going on. So yes, yes, yes. Okay, I got my little side up so you guys can see me. So here we go. Let's get rocking. So, what is strategic brilliance? I'm glad you asked. Strategic brilliance is an AI powered platform that strengthens how people think, decide, and solve problems. Guys, we have a thinking problem in America right now. I love technology, but it doesn't mean that we don't use our nuggets, as my grandmother used to say. Strategic Brilliance Lab is designed to help people explore how you come up with decisions. When I was in school a long time ago, and in math class, you couldn't just say, well, the answer is 6. The teacher wanted to know, how'd you come up with 6? If you're from that era, put a 2 in the chat. Show your work. Show your work. And so we've kind of left the show your work era, but it's coming back. It's coming back. People are not going to just be able to type something into a tool and say, this is the direction that we're going in. As a leader, you want to know, whatever direction we're going in, that someone just didn't pull it out of their ear, right? They didn't just pull it out of their ear. You know, I wanted to say something else. They didn't pull it out of their ear, but they put some thought into it. So, why are you here today? Well, you're here today because information is abundant. We can get information, like I said, at the click of our fingertips. But thinking is scarce. Thinking is starting to become a very rare thing to do. And I'm not just talking about Gen Z. Someone asked me on yesterday while we were doing some pilot testing, well, the Gen Zs really need it. Critical thinking isn't learning critical thinking and becoming stronger in how you critically think and utilizing the tools. It's not generational. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. AI is reshaping, it not is, has reshaped how we learn and how we work. And so I want organizations to understand that AI is a tool. AI in general is a tool, but we still need the human influence. So let's take a look at this data. I'm a data junkie. So the world of work, I don't know about AI. AI is the devil. AI is here. AI is here. And I can remember when my cousin called me and said, "Hey, do you know about Chat GPT?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And she sent it to me and she's like, "Oh, this is really great." And she's a retired HR person. And so I started kind of playing around with it. And I thought, well, I don't want to use this because it's cheating and I'm smart and I know things and I don't need this. But then as I continue to tinker around with it, as I continue to follow the trends, I sat up and said, you better look at this. You better look at how this is going to start changing the way we do everything, especially in the workplace, in our universities, in our small businesses. So the next thing is 170 million new jobs will be created. Well, that doesn't seem like a bad thing. Well, it does because 92 million jobs or roles are going to be displaced. So what are some of the new jobs that are going to be happening? You're going to be looking at opportunities in the green economy and renewable energy. I don't know a whole lot about it, but there's a lot of opportunity in that space. Why is the green economy, and I don't want to say all of a sudden, a big deal, but it's going to be a big deal. So, carbon capture engineers, green building architects, environmental data analysts. There we go with that word again, analyzing the data, artificial intelligence and technology. We're already seeing an uptick of prompt engineers and people getting AI certifications. And I am even getting my own, getting a certification as a chief AI specialist. So this should be ringing really loud in your ear. Are we sitting on the sidelines waiting for this to go away? As I also hear people say, it's a trend. My daddy used to say back when rap music came out, it's a trend. It's not going to stick around. Well, here we are, many moons later, it's still here, just like AI. So you've got the healthcare industry, genetic counselors, telemedicine coordinators. So if you're in that space, looking at how do I utilize AI? How do I utilize AI as a tool if I'm in the HR space? I had a client maybe 2 years ago told me it took them a month to create a job description. Why? Why on earth does it take a month to create a job description? And so I had just kind of started playing around with AI myself. And I said, hey, utilize this to create a template and fill in some of the gaps, rewrite it for what you want in your organization, because you should not be spending that long doing creating a job description. Um, she played around with it, and I think she told me it saved her maybe 4 hours because it creates it just like that. And then she just kind of worked with it. So, I mean, I'm giving you these examples so you know that there's a place for you in this AI driven world. Elder care coordinators, digital infrastructure. These are some of the positions, opportunities that are going to show up as we lose 92 million jobs. So the 92 million displaced roles are primarily roles that will be automated, made obsolete by AI, or dramatically restructured. However, the 170 million new emerging fields that are going to be available, we need to start looking, especially if you're in a university setting, especially if you're in a corporate, how do we tap into developing and creating a lane for students to learn so that they can move into these positions so their degrees are not obsolete? And then if you're in an organization, how do we continue to develop and upskill our employees so that we don't have to lose so many of them? If you're following this, if this is making sense to you, on YouTube, put a 4 in the chat. Put a 4 in the chat. I can see my YouTube chat a little bit. So if this is making sense to you about why this is important, put a 4 in the chat. So I had an opportunity to be in a conference with Gary Vee, and Gary Vee said, I'll tell you, when people talk about jobs being lost, they don't want to hear that. AI is not going to take my job. This is what I do. I'm so important to my organization. Well, I'm going to tell you, the bottom line is always the bottom line. If organizations can save money, not spend as much money, compete with other organizations, then your job may be at risk. This is why upskilling and reskilling is vital. The challenge isn't a job shortage, it's a skills mismatch. Those 92 million displaced workers won't automatically transition into the 170 million new roles without intentional reskilling and workforce development interventions. I don't what did it say? I don't write the law, I just enforce it. And so that is one of the reasons why I have really been following this and tracking this and looking at how do we as a professional development organization help companies help their employees. So employers should be prioritizing analytical thinking and critical thinking. 70% of employers now rank analytical thinking as essential. This isn't a trend, it's fundamental recalibration of what makes employees valuable. Tell me, do you want a critical thinker on your team or somebody that's just making it up as they go? If you want a critical thinker on your team, put a 5 in the chat. Put a 5 in the chat. I want a critical thinker on my team, and I want to continue to be a critical thinker. So here's how AI changed the rules. AI generates answers, but humans judge quality. So I love ideating with AI. I can say, hey, I want to create a course. I want to do this. AI may give me some things. I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't like that. It'll say, oh, I'm sorry. Let's try this again. And so I'll create a better prompt. Sometimes my prompts are a page long, but in order to get out of it what I need so that I can analyze it, I can take what it gives me and judge the quality of that content. Okay. When I was working on my doctorate, my advisor used to say, "Junk in, junk out." So as we work with these AI tools, we've got to start really looking at what is it giving us. We can't just take it, cut and paste it, and keep going. We've got to use some thinking. We've got to analyze what we're getting. We've got to ask ourselves, is this even where I want to go? AI accelerates mistakes without human reasoning. So if you, and I've heard people say, I've used ChatGPT, I've used Perplexity, I've used Gemini, and I got some stuff back that was incorrect. Well, did you use it? Or did you go back and take what you could use and throw out the stuff that wasn't correct? We're going to always get, whether we're using technology or um, it's us as humans, there's going to be a mismatch in information sometimes. But as a critical thinker, you have the ability to turn those mistakes into opportunities. And then AI changed the rules by having, when tools amplify thinking, it also can amplify confusion. I don't want the tool thinking for me. I want to think with the tool. I want to strategize with the tool, but I want to be in charge of the tool. What about you? Do you want to be in charge of the tool, or do you want the tool to tell you what to do and you just run with it? That's where we have a problem. So here's the cost of poor critical thinking. You're like, okay, Dr. Lowe, I hear ya. I'm going to talk to you from where it hurts, right? The cost of poor critical thinking, and you see it on the screen. Um, how much money and time does it cost when your projects have to be reworked? I hate wasting time because time is money. Strategic misalignment. When you've got teams that are always in conflict. I had a client a year ago and they could not get anything done because they were always in conflict. They could not use the tools that their national office was sending them. And so that affects that's the cost critical thinking as well. You put your organization at risk when you don't think critically, when you're always saying, I've been doing this. Well, I'm going to say that because that's the next slide. And then as a leader, your credibility is lost. So I want you to go back and look at, whatever number we're on now. Do you want people on your team who can critically think? But here's another question, lean in. Ask yourself, am I a critical thinker? Am I a critical thinker, or am I just going I'm just going along to get along, as we oftentimes do, because we feel like we've paid our dues. Critical thinking isn't a generational issue. Please hear me when I say this. The assumption is that younger workers lack critical thinking, and many of them do. But it also does not mean that senior leaders automatically possess it. I've been in meetings and organizations where people brag about, I've been in this organization for 30 years. I've been doing this before you were born, blah, 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 blah. I laid the first brick here at this organization, is what someone I used to work with said. But it doesn't mean that great idea you had in 1980 is going to be relevant in 2026. If you're still making decisions based on how you made decisions in 1997, you're probably irrelevant today. But here's the thing. You're leading teams, and I'm talking to my Gen Xers and my boomers. You're leading teams based on do as I do, not as I say. Do as I say, not as I do, right? And so what happens is in organizations, that same process gets recycled. Are you recycling irrelevant information? Are you recreating irrelevant leaders? You have to ask yourself that. You have to ask yourself that. So every generation was trained differently, shaped by distinct educational systems. Educational systems are totally different now, and workplace norms. When I started working, oh, we're not going to talk about that. That's why I do what I do today, because, okay. But you had mentors, you had people that would make sure that you showed up with executive presence, that you spoke and could lead a meeting and that could train you. People are showing up different today. And so experience doesn't equal reasoning skill. Just because you're mature does not mean that you critically think. And that you're critically thinking in a way that can lead your organization into innovation. So that's something I want you to think about. Critical thinking is a trainable, developable competency at any career stage. I don't care how long you've been in an organization. You've not been here today, February 11th, 2026. This is new. This is a new place. So if you started 20 years ago and you've not upskilled yourself because, well, my company doesn't pay for professional development, you're still working on obsolete content. And don't tell me, but Dr. Law, I go to this conference every year. Have you looked at the stuff from the conference? Have you implemented the things from the conference? I'm just saying, just throwing some things out here for you to think about. So, why do organizations need critical thinkers? You can see it right here. Better decisions under pressure, higher return on talent investment, because people are coming in saying they want the big bucks, right? They want you to make it rain for them when they come into your organization. But the question you need to ask is, are you a critical thinker? Hopefully, when you leave today's session, you will have some new questions to ask. The critical thinker me, please. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, thank you. Keep putting these comments in the chat. I'm gonna go back and look at them. So let me get out of this so that we can go over here and look at the tool, because I'm really excited to show it to you. So let's see. Ba, ba, ba. As I navigate, let's see, stop sharing. And then I want to share this screen. I'm so excited. Da, 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 da. So I'm running all the things today. I'm running all the things. I'm the back end, I'm the front end. I'm running all the things today. So, and sometimes that's what you do, right? When you're a leader, you run all the things. And so I want to get this over here on this screen so that I can share my screen with you. Yes. And then we can do this live demo. All right. So I'm going to take myself away so you can see so you can see it in its fullness. Oh, I'm not sharing. Am I sharing? Can you guys see it? Can you when I'm done. Okay. All right. Come on now, internet. When I'm done, I'll tell you about some of the other opportunities we have as we continue to roll this out and make um, changes and update where we are. So let's see, come back here. All right, so here we are. This is the home page. And you will, well, and even before you get here, you will see a screen. I'm already logged in. You will see a screen that looks just like this, but it's going to say 7-day trial. And that's where you're going to start your 7-day trial. Um, Isn't that nice? Okay, here we go. So, where do you start? Some of the people that checked out the solution when we were building it, they were like, "So, where do I start?" Well, it's going to depend on where you are. I think people should always start at the beginning. And so, you'll have an opportunity to take an assessment of yourself to determine, am I a critical thinker? It's just 5 questions. Maybe it's a little bit more. Four questions, and it will actually give you a score on where you are and where you need to start. So I'm not going to go through the questions because I'm going to let you do that when you start your trial. I'm going to go back here to home. This is home. And I'm going to go to learn. So when you come to the learn field, you'll see a training modules and thinking tools. And so the training modules, guys, I like I said, almost 3 years ago when I put this course together, it was designed as a 2-day course, a day and a half course. And so we wanted people to understand what critical thinking was, the fundamentals of it, why you need to be a critical thinker, why it matters to organizations, and if you're not, what it being a critical thinker, what it means. And so, and we did it virtually, and after every section, we would practice. And so, as I was designing this tool, I wanted the tool. I'm not supposed to call it a tool, but for the sake of this, I wanted the solution to mimic being in a live session with me. And so after each space in a safe environment, okay, all right, I don't know what's happening. I do know what's happening. The internet is wonky. But we're going to keep going. And so you can look at all of these areas here. So then you go back to the modules and you look at logical fallacies. What are your biases when you make decisions? Do you think about your biases? Do you tell yourself you don't have biases? And so you can identify flaws in reasoning and in your argument. And so here you can learn about the ad hominem. Into the modules. Okay, yeah, you can learn about the ad hominem, the false dichotomy. You can learn about all these things and then you can practice. I will tell you, as I was building the course, there were many of these things I did not know. So as I was doing the research and creating the course with the slides and the exercises and all of that, I learned some things. Slippery slope, arguing that one event will inevitably lead to a chain of negative events. Some people live their life on the slippery slope, but that's another session. So we'll go back to the modules here. And the Socratic questioning, problem solving strategies. All of these are the training modules. They've been condensed so that you can just work at them at your pace. So you may say, Dr. Law, I know all of that. I know all of that. I know my biases. I don't need to learn the content. Then let's come on over here to the thinking tools then. So while you're in the trial mode, you'll have access to these are all of the thinking tools. Now, let me tell you this. I was at the driving range with a friend, and we were the Monte Carlo simulation to determine whether this is the right decision to make. I would lean in and I would say, tell me more. Tell me more about that. And so here you get to look at the 20, not just SWOT analysis, not just SWOT analysis, but you get to look at the 20 critical thinking tools, the 20 different tools that you can review and decide which do I need to use for whatever decision that I need to make. Do I need to do a root cause analysis? Do I need the models? All right. So it also gives you an opportunity to practice the models as well. So that is under learn. Then we go back to home, and then you can practice. Then you can practice. So you've learned about critical thinking, you've learned about your biases, you've learned about the slippery slope. And if you are on that slippery slope when you're making decisions and you're working with your teams, you have learned about the different critical thinking tools. And now you get to practice. So when we had the live training, we would have breakouts. We would practice with scenarios. And here you'll see that there's different scenarios for the different critical thinking tools. And so you can select, we're going to say the fishbone diagram, and then you can decide, well, what type of scenario would I like to practice? Team productivity sounds pretty good. And then you can start that practice. And it talks you through it, right? So what human factors might be causing the delays in skills, communication, teamwork? And here's where the AI is built into the model. It's going to ideate with you. It's going to give you suggestions and recommendations, and then you submit your response here. So that is one of the things that I really like about this solution. So then we go back to home, or you can go back to tools and decide, oh, I want to practice with some other tools, and then you can do that. We'll go back to home, and there's a reflection section. And in this reflection section, there's going to be a reflection prompt, because oftentimes I want people to break the habit of learning and keeping. I want you to learn it and implement it, learn it and start using it, learn it and teach someone else. So, what assumption did I challenge today? I will not allow the internet to rule me today. Because it's trying to do that right there. It's doing that. And I don't know why. So you put that in, you save your reflection, and then your reflections are here. And then the next day, you'll get another prompt, and then that will challenge you. You can ask for a new prompt. What's a decision I made that I could analyze more deeply? So the it gets you out of that place of just coming up with something or not really thinking it through. If you are utilizing the tools and ideating with the solution, you're going to come up with better ideas, better strategies. You'll have better conversation around what you come up with. You won't be afraid to bring your ideas to the table because you can say, "Well, I use this model to come up with my strategy. What did you do?" Right? And then we've got the advanced thinking tools. And here, the four main critical thinking tools are SWOT, which is foundational. It's time to move from the foundation and move on up. We should graduate up to some other areas. But you'll see foundational, root cause, decision making. Which tool do I want to use for decision making? Which tool do I want to use for visual thinking? Which tool do I want to use for quantitative analysis? And so it'll tell you right here, fishbone diagram for root cause, decision matrix for decision making, um, mind mapping, thinking. How many of you are using these tools right now? Tell me that you know more than SWOT. How many of you know at least three of these tools? Is this new information to you? Did you know that how we can practice? We've looked at reflection. Maybe I'll just leave that right there. Okay. We've looked at the advanced thinking tools, and then there's group mode. And I really like group for teams. If you have a team of four, a team of five, and you really want to start upskilling them as a leader, here's how they can work together in the solution. So we would register them. We would upload your team or your department, and then they can utilize the scenarios, apply the tools, present their findings, cross pollinate, and really grow as a department. Um, Again, there are scenarios for you to practice. Someone asked me, "Can I put a real life challenge in Strategic Brilliance Lab?" Yes, you can. Not in the practice mode, because practice is where you practice with the scenarios, but there is a place where you can do that. So let's see, where are we? So we've done all of the key areas. Now let's go over here to help. And we're probably going to rename this. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think. Help is the navigation guide. It tells you kind of what I just showed you. But then they're frequently asked questions. What is Strategic Brilliance Lab? Where should I start if I'm new? How are advanced thinking tools different from getting started? So a lot of FAQs, but there's one in particular. What are the core critical thinking tools? It tells you here, workplace application, boom. What if my workplace doesn't value critical thinking? I get this question all the time. What if my workplace doesn't value professional development? Ma'ams and sirs, you have to make a decision to upskill and reskill yourself. You have to evaluate, where do I fall on the spectrum? Am I going to wait on someone else to do it? Or am I going to take ownership of my upskilling and reskilling? I've heard people say, I'm going to take responsibility. I've heard people say, well, I'm retiring in 2 years, which I think is like a loser way to think, because you are leaving your team lost. You're leaving your team lost if you don't. Leaders. And so my question is always, how are you doing that? How are you developing more leaders? So if your workplace um, does not value professional development, they will. They will. There have been a lot of organizations that wanted nothing to do with AI, and now they're on the AI train. They're doing everything now. They're embedding AI in everything that they do. They may be moving slower than some companies, but they see where this train is going. So, as an individual, I would say you have to think about, if my company isn't upskilling me, which I don't think we should wait on our companies to upskill us. We can buy a book, we can go to a workshop, we can do something to upskill ourselves and not wait on someone else to do it. You are your own rescue. And then we've got organization and team, FAQs, and mindset and growth. How long does it take to become a critical thinker? It's a lifetime. It's a lifetime, because if you have seen something here that you didn't know, um, then you have an opportunity to learn. I don't know if I finished telling you the story about being at the driving range. So we're at the driving range and we're talking about strategic brilliance and a lot of the tools. And I asked Sherry, her name is Sherry. I asked her, I said, hey, did you know that there were 20 different ways that you can make a tools that you can use to make a decision? And so I started naming them off, and she was like, oh yeah, I learned that in the military. And so I stopped probably mid swing, and I thought, well, they're not learning this in classrooms. I didn't learn it in college. They're not teaching this in many trainings. They're not, unless you go into the military, that's how the only way you can learn this. And so she, as I'm just kind of standing there thinking to myself, she's like, "You gonna swing or what?" And I'm like, "Wait, this is a real problem." And this Strategic Brilliance Lab is the solution. We're saving ourselves. We're bringing people along. We're not dragging them, but anybody who wants to learn how to become a better leader and a better thinker, there's a solution for it. Um, how can I avoid analysis paralysis? Set time limits, focus on the most important criteria, the 80/20, because many of us are doing way too much when we really need to focus on that 20%. So this is Strategic Brilliance Lab, everybody. This is the first of many tools that we are developing at the Resurgent Group to help people understand how to think better, how to utilize critical thinking in their work, and how to develop others. And so, what I would love for you to do is go to Strategic Brilliance Lab and download the app. Not the app. So you don't have to download it because it's already there. It is powered for laptop, and it is also powered for mobile devices. Here we are. So if you scan this, you should be able to um, start your 7-day trial of Strategic Brilliance Lab and play around with the tool. I would love to get your feedback. I would love to come to your location and do a demo and talk with your teams about how how to start upskilling and reskilling in the area of critical thinking. If you have my newest book, The Power of One Question, it goes hand in hand with this because the power of one question is designed to give you questions to help you think and ideate with your teams, with bringing having better communication with a cross generational workforce. And so you can absolutely use them together. The Power of One Question and Strategic Brilliance Lab will absolutely make you a genius. So it's strategicbrilliancelab.com. You can scan the QR code. I'm going to look and see if there are any questions. LinkedIn, I'm sorry, I can't see you. I can't see you, but I will answer questions. If you've got questions, um, I will do that afterwards. And let's see, I'm going to get out of this so I can come back over to where you are. And let's see. So that's it. That is the demo of Strategic Brilliance Lab. I so appreciate you being here with me today to celebrate this launch. There are so many more things that we want to do to make this solution. This is the beginning. So as you go through it, it might be a little buggy. We're working through the bugs. We're working through the kinks if they show up for you. We're working to make this solution top tier. What's coming next? We don't know yet. Maybe our Gen Z executive functioning program that we launched last year, we want to turn that into a human focused AI powered solution as well. So if you have any ideas, suggestions, if you would like to be a part of our cohort that we will be starting soon of universities and organizations where they will actually get to utilize the tool for 6 months and really see, so that we can collect some real data. So there's a lot of opportunity here. I just thank you. I thank you for being here with me today, sticking in with this wonky internet. But guess what? Nothing was going to stop what was already destined to be. So let's see. I'm going to see if I can come over here and see if there are any questions. If there are any, I think I will probably do a live later. And if I do that live, then I can answer your questions. Some of the questions that we got during the pilot stage was, can it run reports? Yes. Does it have voice activation. We're going to be adding voice activation to it soon. So as you are going through and you're practicing, you won't have to type in what you want to say. There will be a functionality for that. So so that's all I got, and I got it done in under an hour. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to put this closing slide back up, I think, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.